Hello, good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, sir.
It's lovely being here once again, and we're gonna continue from the last class that we had. So, the last class that we had, we touched on the cardiovascular system, we touched on the respiratory system, we touched on the digestive system, so on and so forth. So, this class is just going to be a continuation from our last class. However, before we go into our class, just to stimulate you a bit, I have a quick riddle for you to play. So I'm going to share out these papers with these questions, and after about 2 to 3 minutes, you should be finished because they're very, very simple questions. So without much further ado, just receive these papers with these questions, answer them to the best of your ability.
Yes, sir.
Okay, class. Since you're now finished, we're gonna actually do a quick evaluation of our riddle to see how it went. So I'm gonna ask these questions, and whoever believes that they have the correct answer will indicate by raising their hands, and they're gonna answer the question. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So question number one: I am a liquid. I transport your oxygen and nutrients all over the body. What am I? Peter?
Sir, blood.
Yes, correct. Number two: I sit between the two lungs and I have four chambers. I beat like a drum. I am
Sir, this sound like a heart.
correct. The answer is correct. It's the heart. Third question: I am inhaled by animals and exhaled by plants. I am the gas called Paul.
Is it oxygen, sir?
Correct. Oxygen is the correct answer. Question number four: I am the organ responsible for filtering oxygen. I work when you're asleep. Therefore, I am the.
I
Sean?
think that might be a lungs.
Yes, correct, Sean. That's absolutely correct. Question number five: the pump is called the something, while the sacs are called the something. They both work together.
The pump is called the heart,
Correct?
and I think the lungs is called. No, the sac is called the lungs.
Exactly. So, Jonathan, you're absolutely correct. Which brings us to the end of our little riddle. So, I'm now going to go directly into a video that will. This video now will further solidify what we're actually about to capture in our lesson. So, pay attention to this video.
Fascinating relationship between the respiratory and circulatory systems, two vital systems that work hand in hand to keep our bodies functioning. Let's start with gas exchange. The respiratory system's primary job is to facilitate the exchange of gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, between the air we breathe and our bloodstream. During inhalation, oxygen enters the lungs and diffuses into tiny air sacs called alveoli. From there, it crosses the thin walls of capillaries into the bloodstream. Simultaneously, carbon dioxide, a waste product of cellular metabolism, moves from the bloodstream into the alveoli to be exhaled. Now, let's see how these gases are transported throughout the body. Oxygenated blood, enriched in the lungs, is pumped by the heart to various tissues and organs via the circulatory system. In the bloodstream, oxygen binds to hemoglobin within red blood cells, forming oxyhemoglobin. This oxygen-rich blood is then distributed to tissues where oxygen is released to fuel cellular respiration. Meanwhile, carbon dioxide produced by cells is carried in the blood and eventually expelled from the body through exhalation. But it's not just about gas exchange. The respiratory and circulatory systems also collaborate in regulating the body's pH balance. Carbon dioxide plays a crucial role in this process. When CO2 levels rise, It combines with water in the blood to form carbonic acid, lowering pH. This triggers an increase in breathing rate, expelling more CO2 and restoring pH balance. Finally, the circulatory system ensures efficient oxygen delivery to tissues for cellular respiration. Oxygenated blood reaches tissues where oxygen is released from red blood cells and diffuses into surrounding cells. This oxygen is essential for cellular respiration, the process that produces energy in the form of ATP. In conclusion, the respiratory and circulatory systems are intricately connected, working together to ensure the delivery of oxygen and removal of carbon dioxide, maintaining the body's pH balance and sustaining life. Did you enjoy this fascinating exploration? If so, show some
Okay, class. So that was a very concise video about the relationship between the respiratory and the circulatory system, or we could say the cardiovascular system and the respiratory system. So, as it said, they both work hand in hand, they work together. One cannot work without the other. So, when you have a healthy respiratory system, you also have simultaneously, or you should also simultaneously have an effective and an efficient respiratory and circulatory system. So, in our class, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up the circuit, because this is what you're going to have to eventually do. So, after I set up these stations, some persons are going to be doing some push-ups, some persons are going to be doing some skipping, some persons are going to be doing sit-ups, burpees, and back curls. However, everybody is going to have a chance to do each and every exercise. We're going to be working for 20 seconds and you're going to be resting for 15 seconds. You're going to be moving anti-clockwise, or to your right, in other words. After everyone would have completed each exercise, that's one round of circuits. So what's going to happen, we're going to be using technology in this circuit. I'm going to show you a fascinating way how technology is actually very effective in modern day teaching. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be distributing certain wearable forms of technology. And what I'm going to start with, I'm going to be using a smartwatch. I'm going to ask students to come forward so I could actually give you these. So I'm going to start with Sean. Sean, please come forward.
Coming, sir.
So Sean, just stretch out your hand. So I'm going to be placing this tracker on Sean's hand. This tracker is going to be connected to my smartphone. So whatever Sean does on this phone is going to be shown here on my phone screen. So Sean just put on this wearable piece of technology. Okay, so what's going to happen? In the previous ages, persons would have had to physically touch others to check their pulse or their heart rate. So what's going to happen? When Sean and the other students wear this, is whatever happens there is going to be reflected here. So I'm going to know what Sean's heart rate is. I'm going to know what Jonathan's heart rate is. I'm going to know what everyone's heart rate is without actually touching them, because it's going to be displayed on my phone screen. There's just one way how we actually use technology in modern day teaching. Another way, as definitely could be seen, is the presentation that we're currently doing. Without this fascinating aspect of technology, this lesson would not have been adequately presented to you in the manner in which it's being done. So I'm also using a Bluetooth speaker. So this also is responsible for pitching my voice, and all the volume around here is through this Bluetooth speaker. I'm also going to be using a stopwatch to actually time the rest and the reps, and this is actually going to show me, compared to last session and this session and previous session and future session, sorry, I'm going to know based on the rate of recovery. So let's assume before, the average student would have taken 10 minutes to recover. I'm going to check their heart rate, and I'm going to actually look at the clock to see the amount of time less it's taken for them to recover. So the more the recovery time drop, it would show an increase in their respiratory and cardiovascular fitness. So without much further ado, right now I could see John's heart rate is currently at 70 beats per minute. So John, after you're gonna do some warm-ups. Everybody's gonna warm up. The warm-up is gonna take the form of a slight light 2 minutes jog. Then they're gonna be doing some forward sprints, some side sprints, and some backward sprints. I'm then gonna see the increase in his heart rate. Currently is at 70 beats per minute, his resting heart rate. Okay, so students, it's time for us all to go warm up. So let's proceed with the warm up. Okay, any student could volunteer to come forward. Anyone would like to volunteer?
Yes, sir. I will come.
Okay, come Paul. So Paul, it's being shown that, okay, you also had a resting heartbeat of 70. Now it's being shown that it's 120 beats per minute. So it's definitely showing, because of technology, was definitely displayed on his dial is the same thing as being displayed on my phone. So his heart rate definitely would have increased after the warm-up. So now students, we're going to go into our circuit, which will be followed by a cool down session. So what our circuit will be, as previously mentioned, 5 different exercises. 2 persons go to each station, and you're going to be circulating. So now let me pair you off, and you're going to go to the station, and we proceed. Any questions, anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, let's proceed with our main activity. Okay, great. So now we're finished with our main activity, and we go into the cool down session. The way cool down session will be, it's going to be simple. You're just going to be taking some deep breaths. You're going to be inhaling for 3 to 5 seconds, holding for 3 to 5 seconds, and exhaling out your mouth. So you inhale through your nose, exhale through the mouth. And you're going to be doing a very, very slow jog, which is called a recovery jog. After you finish with the recovery jog for 3 minutes, you're then going to walk backwards for 2 minutes, doing the same breathing routine. And that is it, and we're going to conclude our lesson. Any questions, class?
Not right now, sir.
Okay, so let's proceed with the cool down exercise. Okay, class, so now we're in the final aspect of our class. Since you would have already cooled down and I have your attention once again, we're going to go into a simple activity. It's going to be a game of Jeopardy. This is just to actually evaluate you after I would have already used my strategies to actually carry you through the previous spaces. So this game of Jeopardy is very simple. I'm going to be dividing you into 3 groups. I'm going to be asking a few questions, and which group actually put their hand up fastest after the question and answers correctly, they're going to be awarded a point. The group that has the most points after this round wins the game. Everyone understands? Class, everyone understands?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. So question number 1. The heart has something chambers. Yes, let me hear group 3. You had your hand up first, group 3. How many chambers the heart has?
Sir, is it 4?
Correct, that's correct. Okay. Question number 2. This is a true or false question. The heart is the main organ in the cardiovascular respiratory fitness. Let me hear you, group 3 again.
I think that is false.
Correct. That answer is correct. It's false. It's not just the heart. It's the heart and the lungs. They work together. Just as I would have explained, the video also explained. Okay, next question. The lungs are involuntary whilst the heart is voluntary. Group 2?
That gotta be false, sir.
Correct. That's false. They're both involuntary. They actually work whether we want them to work or not. Okay, question number 4. We're going along like nicely. No one got any answer wrong as yet. The blood transports food, nutrients, and something to all cells of the body. Group 1.
So repeat.
The blood transports food, nutrients, and something to all cells of the body.
Oh, that gotta be oxygen.
Correct, group 1. You got that absolutely correct. Oxygen is the other pivotal part. That is why we say the circulatory system has no business if it doesn't have the respiratory system to supply to the oxygen. That's absolutely correct. Question number 5. In some countries, the heart beats faster while other countries it beats slower. True or false? Group 1?
Definitely it is false.
Exactly. So that's false. Number 6. All animals need oxygen to survive. True or false? Let me hear you, group 2.
All of you need oxygen. So I think the animals need oxygen too, sir.
That's correct. Okay, so after 6 questions, each group would have answered 2 successful questions. So that means we're actually going along quite competitively, and everyone thus far know exactly what they're about. So we're gonna have one last question for the decider. So this last question, whoever raises their hand first, that group is going to get the first opportunity. Okay, so here the question is: exercise, good nutrition, and something improves your cardiovascular and respiratory health. Oh my gosh, it seems as if all 3 groups would have raised their hand concurrently. So what's going to happen? We're going to go into a corner, and each group is going to write down their answer in secrecy, and then we're going to read which group gets the correct answer. Okay? This is quite interesting because it seems as if all 3 groups would have provided the exact answer, which is sleep or rest. And fortunately, that is the correct answer. So what this actually shows is that every student thus far would have had a very good grasp of the content that was being taught to them today. And I'm very proud of you students. It shows that you would have been paying rapt attention and you are very in tune with what you're being told, what you're being taught. So
Thank you, sir.
you're most welcome. What's going to happen, I'm just going to give you some homework and then you're going to adjourn the class. So for your homework, what you're going to do, you're going to come up with your own test of cardiovascular and respiratory fitness with constructing a small, simple circuit that you could give to some of your peers. And you're going to write an assessment of how they would have done, and you're going to come and present it to the class next session. Okay, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions before we go?
No, sir. No questions.
Okay, then. Lovely. It was lovely being here, and our class is adjourned. Thank you.